We're 5 weeks into the college football season, and there has been ups, there's been downs, there's been tears of joy, tears of sadness. And I haven't done a top 25 since prior to the season where I predicted the schedule. I went game by game, and I gave you rankings based on where I thought teams would fall by the end of the year. But now we have actual film. We have teams with actual resumes, and we can make educated decisions on where these teams should be ranked, unlike the AP poll, because it just doesn't matter to them. Their words, not mine.
It doesn't, probably matter in the end.
Before we get to the actual top 25, I want to go over the 10 teams who were on my preseason rankings that currently aren't in Clemson. Come on. Everyone and their mom had Clemson in the top 5, or at the very least, the top 10. Apparently a team jacked full of NFL talent doesn't mean you're a top 25 squad. Notre Dame's interesting because their 2 losses are really good. Texas A&M and Miami, those are top 10 teams according to the AP. Those are good losses, but from here on out, you have to win out. And some of those games I think are going to have to look like what you did to Arkansas this past week. I'm not saying they're dead in the water. They're probably going to make their way back into the top 25, but I don't have them there currently. Kansas State. They were my pick to win the Big 12. I thought it was a team full of dogs. They were frauds. In fact, they were cats, wildcats, and not that great. Boise State, I think, is still going to compete for the Mountain West title. UNLV might have something to say about that. We'll see. Florida, we know what's going on with Florida. It's not pretty down there. Really, no need to dwell on it in the swamp. South Carolina is a good team that might make their way back up here. I don't know if they're going to be a playoff team, though. USC, they would be undefeated if, they had defense. And, Illinois, walk-off field goal just this past weekend. SMU ends up being more of a middle-of-the-road ACC team this year, which was fine. I had them at the back end of my top 25 anyway. Same with Utah, but to be fair, Utah, I think, is one of the best teams in the Big 12. Ends up losing to Texas Tech, which they're going to be rated high here. They just are. And then Tulane. Tulane honestly has one of the best losses of any of the group of 5 teams to Ole Miss, which we'll be talking about much later in this video. But let's get into that top 25. I got Illinois here at 25. That's a good win against USC. I know the Indiana loss is embarrassing. It's bad. I could have put maybe a BYU here, but they really haven't played anyone. And that USC win, I think, is a good win. Arizona State, they make their way up back in. Watch out. They beat TCU this past weekend. TCU is another team that probably could have vied and got in this top 25. Memphis, man. This is the one group of 5 team that I have in here. They probably have the most impressive win from the group of 5. You could argue with Tulane. I think maybe the Duke win's more impressive than the Arkansas win. I don't know. It makes you think. But Memphis, they're literally, the road is paid for them to win the American. They get to face South Florida and Tulane in Memphis. It's kind of goated. Michigan here at 22. They got a good loss in Oklahoma, but I don't think they have that good win just yet. Nebraska, sure, yeah, but I think there's teams with better wins. Florida State kind of feels like a big drop off from where everyone else had them. Again, I haven't done a top 25 since prior to the season, so I'm just putting teams where I think based on their resume. And yeah, they got a really good win with Alabama, but Virginia is not that great of a loss. And I knew that -6.5 was fishy. That's why I didn't touch it. But I have them here because I don't think you could put Florida State ahead of the team they lost to in Virginia, who's here at 20 for me. Listen, I think this Virginia team might be, I don't want to say might be here to stay. Let's take a look at what they have. Well, they got a big game against Louisville, who is undefeated, but also hasn't played anyone, by the way. They didn't look good in that Pittsburgh win. They were basically battling back that whole game. They were down 17, I think, to start that game. And Virginia's just looked better. Their one loss was a tight one against an NC State team that was playing good football earlier in the year, just a few weeks ago. And yeah, that's a really big win against Florida State. So I had to put them here. I got Mississippi State at 19. I have no idea. I have no freaking clue why they're unranked. Arizona State's a good win. How are you ranking Arizona State at 25, but Mississippi State is unranked? They've yet to rank Mississippi State. That makes no freaking sense. They beat Arizona State. They lost in OT to Tennessee, who's a very good team. How are they not ranked? That makes no sense. Texas fans could get mad at this. Listen, Texas hasn't looked that great this year. Sure, they lost to one of the top 3 teams in the country to start the year. But I don't think their wins have been all that encouraging. They're cupcake games. And some of them have been kind of like, you should be better than this. So I have them here at 18. I feel like that's fair. I do. Iowa State coming in at 17 for me. I think that's about where, no, the AP actually has them a little bit higher at 14. They're 5-0. That's cool and all. What's their best win? Maybe Iowa? Perhaps. They didn't look great against that Arkansas State team. The schedule should get harder. I mean, they go to Cincinnati, who played, beat Kansas this past week. In Kansas, too. So, pretty solid. I mean, they get BYU. Really, like, their big games come close, like, I want to say closer to the end of the stretch, but BYU, Arizona State, TCU. Honestly, look at their schedule. It's reasonably easy or easier compared to some of the other teams in the Big 12. Like, BYU's, I think, has a crazy stretch. Let's check this out real quick. BYU, matter of fact, let's just put this sucker on the screen for you. BYU, look at this stretch for BYU. Versus Utah, at Iowa State, at Texas Tech, versus TCU. Poor freaking BYU. I mean, they're going to be tested. So it's coming up. It's coming up for BYU. They can remain undefeated going into that Utah game. Uh-oh, watch out. Big 12 could be a dog bath. Dog bath? Bloodbath. There we go. Dog bath. Gojo, do you need a dog bath? He's passed out right down here. If you don't know, Gojo is my faithful dog. Tennessee's here at 16, and people might be crying foul. Because this probably insinuates that Listen, Tennessee had a very close loss to Georgia, but it was at home. I think there's a lot of good teams, and we're just starting to get into the thick of things with SEC play, conference play in general. Things will sort themselves out. I think Tennessee's a very good team, and that they're going to be vying for the college football playoff. I really do. But I feel comfortable with them here for now. Before I move on, I gotta give a shout out to our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Download that app. Download it right now. And when you do, sign up with promo code Broshmo, because they match that first deposit up to $1,000 dues. The best place to play weekly best ball or higher lower on player stats. That's what I'm doing, baby. I look at the NFL slate. I look at who's on my fantasy team, and I'm like, I hope they do well. And I just hit higher on all the stats. But if you want to get in on the action, I mean, the cool thing about Underdog, they have promos each and every day for you to take advantage of. So not only can you take advantage of my promo code, but you could also take advantage of their daily promos. But as always, play responsibly and play within your means. Let's go to 15 because there's a lot of SEC teams on this slate. As you can tell, I had LSU, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. I had that bundle, and I had to figure out, okay, I know I want these teams here. figured out how to rank them. I feel like I need to come to Penn State's aid real quick, and because people are going to be like, why is Alabama or Georgia or Tennessee or LSU not ahead of Penn State? Penn State doesn't have a quality win. Correct, but they did blow those teams out. And I get it. You lose to Oregon, which is arguably a top 3, top 4 team in the country. But you do it at home. It was a whiteout. But it was in double overtime. So, like, I could give them benefit of the doubt. I didn't want to put them higher than that, though. So, I got Penn State at 12. Let's back up. Georgia just lost at home to Alabama. Alabama has done a lot of legwork. I know Florida State fans are like, what the hell, man? We beat Alabama. Well, show me your... You should have lost to Virginia. How about that? Alabama's loss being you looks a lot better than your loss being Virginia. But hey, Florida State, you could get it back. You beat the Hurricanes. My Hurricanes, by the way. Then it's all peachy. LSU, I think arguably you lose to Ole Miss at home, who you're going to see in the top 10. It's not a bad loss. So, I mean, you go to Clemson, you beat Clemson, and the Florida win, like, I think LSU has enough for me to put them ahead of those other SEC teams. Georgia Tech, they're ranked 17 on the AP poll. I know you'll be like, well, it took overtime to beat Wake Forest. Well, they beat Clemson, who 99% of America, that's right, America, had as your future ACC champions. They have looked pretty darn good up until this point. And you know what? Cool. They got tested and they made it through. They also, I think, looking ahead, which I try not to look ahead too much when it comes to the putting together my rankings. But looking ahead, Virginia Tech, Duke, Syracuse, NC State, Boston College, Pitt, those are all, that's their conference play. There's no Florida State. There's no Miami. There's not even a Louisville. Not even Virginia, who's on the rankings right now. Yeah, I feel good that they could probably win out. Aside from, we'll see about that Georgia game, because that Georgia game was money last year. But they end the year with Georgia, but I think they're going to go undefeated in the conference. But they get a little scare at Wake Forest. Maybe that wakes them up. But I put them here at 11. Let's go to the top 10. Because at number 10, it's Missouri, baby. Because of course it is. They beat South Carolina. They beat Kansas in a fun game. And yeah, I mean, the road gets a little tougher for our friends from Missouri with conference play coming around. But this is a good Missouri team. Bo Prabula is fun. Ahmad Hardy might be RB1 in the 2027 NFL draft. So yeah, I'm kind of in on Missouri, who's currently ranked 19 for the AP. Okay, whatever. Texas Tech, they had a bye week, but they had a big win against Utah. They looked good and stylish in the victory. They take on undefeated Houston next week at Houston. But I think Texas Tech is the best team in the Big 12. There, I said it. Is that Vanderbilt I see at number 8? That's right. Vandy, currently 16 when it comes to the AP poll. And I think they've done good work. They had basically they just curb stomped South Carolina. And I get it, Sellers was out, but wasn't out for the whole game. And I don't think it was particularly that close prior to Sellers getting out. They smashed Virginia Tech, which was kind of a telling sign that they might smash South Carolina. And all they've been doing is smashing. Georgia State, they beat them 70-21. Utah State, who, mind you, only lost by 22, which I know that's a big number, but only lost by 22 to Texas A&M. Vandy beats them by 20. So yeah, I think Vandy deserves a little credit, and they're going into a tough one this week. Going to Tuscaloosa to take on Alabama. It's going to be a toughie. Indiana's here at 7 for me. That thrashing against Illinois was shocking. I felt like they came a little bit back down to earth against Iowa. People are mad at Fernando Mendoza because he took that safety, literally ran back, cost many of people the -6.5 on that. So yeah, people weren't happy, but Indiana's looked really good this year. Looked really good, and again, looking ahead, which I don't typically like to do, but sometimes I just do it. They got Oregon, not next week, but the week after. It's going to be a big game, but you get past that, you really just have Penn State. I mean, you got Michigan State, UCLA, Maryland, and then Penn State in Happy Valley. And I mean, you get Oregon in Eugene, but there's a path that this team goes, Indiana goes 10-2 and just makes the playoff. That's, again, assuming we don't see them trip up against Michigan State, UCLA, Wisconsin, Maryland, or Purdue. That's assuming. Texas A&M, Notre Dame, going to South Bend. That was a great win. They just beat Auburn. It wasn't pretty, but they got it done. What's next for A&M, actually? They had to watch Don't Look Now. Mississippi State's coming to town. Oh, but yeah, I got A&M at 6 because I think the top 5 should be kind of unanimous for most people. It is with the AP. I have Oklahoma at 5. I get it. John Mateer, he's out for the next month. I'm going to let those games play out. I'm going to let them play out because Oklahoma, they beat Michigan. They beat Auburn. They've looked good this year. The defense is insane. They were off this week. They get Kent State next week. And as far as I know, maybe Mateer makes it back for the Ole Miss game. He's going to miss the Red River shootout. But with the way Texas is playing, maybe you could get by with the backup quarterback, that's Hawkins, right? Could be wrong about that. Yeah, Michael Hawkins Jr. Okay, thought so. Why do I even doubt myself? But yeah, apparently they're confident in him. He did play a bit last year, but he's good. So Mateer's gonna, at the very least, miss Texas, miss Oklahoma, maybe misses Ole Miss. But this is the thing, Mateer, when he arrives, he's gonna be arriving at the perfect time because if let's say he misses the Ole Miss game, they end with Tennessee, at Alabama, Missouri, LSU. They will have some improving to do, especially if they lose. Let's say they lose. If they can if Oklahoma without Mateer, if he's not backed by Ole Miss, if they can win one of those 3, get Mateer back, and then, I mean, dude, I think they're going to be competitive down the stretch. Very tough schedule for Oklahoma, though. Ole Miss, big win. You beat LSU. Of course, they were going to be number 4, man. They looked good. They looked good doing it. They have a win over, Kentucky. That doesn't mean anything. I don't know why South Carolina was coming to mind. You know why South Carolina was coming to mind? Because South Carolina just beat Kentucky. So, like, okay, yeah. I mean, they had the blowout at Tulane, but that's just what Lane Kiffin does against non-conference opponents. By the way, Washington State comes to town in a couple of weeks. Whatever the spread is on that, take Ole Miss. Just do it. But yeah, I mean, the Arkansas game was close. Kentucky game was close, but that's just how Lane plays the SEC, man. That's just how he plays it. So that's why he's at 4 and not in my top 3, because I think the top 3 kind of speak for themselves. Oregon, you travel to Happy Valley, you get the win in double overtime. Phenomenal. They're a great team. Miami, you beat Notre Dame, and then you beat Florida in the... No, this one was at home. I was about to say in the swamp. You're going to be traveling to Tallahassee to take on Florida State this upcoming week. But I think from just by position, this is one of the most complete teams in college football. And then Ohio State's here at 1. Yeah, okay, they beat Texas. That's cool. Washington was a good win. They always have talent. They're a complete team. And honestly, partly why I put them at 1 here. They're your defending national champions. I don't know. And it's not right. There's this little thing inside me that's just like being number 1 should be theirs until proven otherwise. That's not right. I shouldn't do it this way. But they are one of the top 3 teams in the nation. It's not like I'm putting stinking Iowa State here. Something, right? Wow, Iowa State taking all kinds of shots in here. I don't mean the shade, Iowa State. I really don't. But there's my top 25. Let me know. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? Am I a fool? Am I just an absolute fool? Let me know how your top 25 would look in the comment section below. That's it for the video. As always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.